The city never sleeps. Towers of glass and steel pierce the sky. In this urban jungle, only the strong survive. Joshua, a young man with a quiet strength, navigates the city's rhythm. His eyes reflect the city's fire, a burning desire within. He walks with purpose, his steps echoing in the urban canyons. Joshua is a dreamer, a believer in the power of possibility. The aroma of roasted beans fills the air. Joshua enters, a familiar face in the crowd. He is greeted by Mersha, her smile a beacon of warmth. At the counter, Nikita, the barista, exudes an air of indifference.
What's it gonna be? The usual for someone who looks like they're still finding their way?
Joshua's face remains impassive, but a muscle twitches in his jaw. The encounter, though unpleasant, sparks a steely resolve. He will prove her wrong, silence the doubts with his success. Joshua began, his voice betraying a hint of annoyance. He had grown tired of the subtle jabs, the dismissive looks he often received.
Can you make him a dream-on drink? He could use some motivation.
Mark's words, dripping with condescension, made Joshua's blood run cold. A wave of humiliation washed over Joshua.
Don't worry about it, Josh. He's just as capable as any of us.
Her voice calm but firm, silencing the snickers and side glances. Joshua found solace in her unwavering belief. He took a deep breath, composing himself. "I'd like a black coffee, please," he said, his voice steady. Nikita, her smirk faltering slightly, seemed taken aback by his composure. He would show them what he was capable of. He glanced at Mersha, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and encouragement. He took his coffee from Nikita, her gaze now averted. He joined Mersha at their table, his mind already buzzing with ideas. He was determined to succeed, to prove that anything was possible. As they talked, the noise of the cafe faded into a distant hum. Mersha, her voice filled with a quiet intensity, shared her latest project. Joshua realized their dreams were fueled by the same desire to make a difference. He would honor the sacrifices of those who came before him. The conversation flowed easily between Joshua and Mersha.
You two wouldn't happen to be interested in this, would you? Joshua glanced at the flyer, his brow furrowing slightly.
Legacy Enterprises is hosting a pitch competition. That's interesting.
Oh, you know, the usual. Tech startups, innovative ideas.
Joshua felt a surge of anger rise within him.
Don't be so quick to judge, Mark. You never know what hidden talents people possess. Besides, I think Joshua has some brilliant ideas brewing, don't you, Josh?
Joshua hesitated for a moment, his mind racing. Mark's dismissive attitude fueled a fire in his belly. "Joshua, maybe I do have something that could compete. Tell me more about this competition, Mark." He reached for the flyer, a hint of challenge in his tone. Mark outlined the details of the competition, his tone laced with skepticism. Joshua listened intently, absorbing every word. He pushed aside doubts, fueled by a newfound determination. He knew she believed in him, and that belief was a powerful motivator. As they delved deeper into the conversation, a sense of purpose settled over Joshua. He thought about his family, his community, all those who had come before him. He realized that this competition was about more than just him. He had a legacy to uphold, a responsibility to use his talents to create a better future. As the conversation drew to a close, a sense of quiet confidence settled over Joshua. He had made his decision. He would enter the Legacy Enterprises business pitch competition.
I'm in, he said, his voice firm, unwavering. I knew you would, she said, her voice filled with unwavering belief.
Leaving the coffee shop, the weight of his decision settled upon Joshua's shoulders. The memory of Nikita's condescending smirk fueled his resolve. He would use their doubts as stepping stones, their underestimation as fuel for his ambition. This wasn't just about winning a competition. It was about claiming his place in a world that often seemed determined to keep him on the sidelines. Stepping into his modest apartment, a wave of calm washed over Joshua. The walls, adorned with a tapestry of ideas, reflected the vibrant landscape of his mind. He moved towards his desk, a well-worn battleground littered with the remnants of countless brainstorming sessions. This was his domain, a space where he could be himself, where his ideas could take flight. Opening his laptop, Joshua dove headfirst into the challenge. He knew he had his work cut out for him, but Joshua had something they didn't, a burning desire to prove himself, a story to tell that was uniquely his own. This one was for them. Hours melted away as Joshua lost himself in the creative process. The hum of his laptop became a steady rhythm, the click-clack of his keyboard a percussive counterpoint to the symphony of ideas swirling in his mind. He sketched, he wrote, he deleted, he rewrote, each iteration bringing him closer to the heart of his vision. He knew his idea had merit, but he needed to present it in a way that would captivate the judges, ignite their imaginations, and convince them that he was the one to bring it to life. He researched his target market, analyzing their needs, desires, and pain points. He studied his competitors, identifying their strengths and weaknesses, searching for the gap in the market that only he could fill. He crafted his pitch meticulously, honing his message, refining his delivery, ensuring that every word resonated with clarity and conviction. He knew he couldn't rely on charisma alone. He needed to back up his vision with solid research, a viable business plan, and a passionate belief in his ability to execute. He pored over financial projections, market analysis, and competitor data, his determination fueled by the desire to silence the doubts and prove his mettle. Days turned into nights as Joshua immersed himself in the competition. His apartment became a war room, his desk a command center. He fueled his body with coffee and takeout, his mind with the relentless pursuit of excellence.
He practiced his pitch in front of the mirror, scrutinizing his every gesture, every inflection, refining his delivery until it felt natural, authentic, and compelling. He sought feedback from me, and I was more than happy to help. My critiques and support were like a lifeline in his sea of self-doubt.
The pressure was immense, the stakes higher than he had ever faced, but with each passing day his confidence grew. He had poured his heart and soul into this project, and he was determined to give it his all.
He knew that success was far from guaranteed, but he had come too far to turn back now. He would face the challenge head-on, armed with his vision, his determination, and the unwavering belief that he had something special to offer the world.
The day of the competition arrived, a culmination of weeks of relentless preparation. A nervous energy thrummed through Joshua's veins as he dressed with meticulous care. His reflection in the mirror showed a young man transformed. His eyes glinted with a newfound confidence, his shoulders squared with a quiet strength. He gathered his presentation materials, his fingers lingering on the sleek folder that contained the culmination of his efforts. It wasn't just a pitch deck, it was a vessel for his dreams, a testament to his resilience, a passport to a future he dared to imagine. Taking a deep breath, he stepped out of his apartment, the city greeting him with its usual cacophony of sound and fury. But today, he felt different. He was no longer just another face in the crowd, another dreamer lost in the urban jungle. Today, he was a contender, a force to be reckoned with, a young man on the cusp of destiny. As he made his way towards the venue, the weight of the challenge ahead no longer felt insurmountable. He was ready. He had done the work, honed his vision, and fueled his determination. Now, it was time to step into the arena and let his brilliance shine. The air crackled with anticipation as Joshua entered the Legacy Enterprises building. The sleek, modern architecture seemed to hum with the energy of ambition, the atmosphere thick with the scent of success and the silent prayers of hopeful dreamers. Every mirrored surface reflected back a distorted image of himself, a young man on the precipice of a life-altering moment. His footsteps echoed on the polished marble floors, each stride carrying him closer to the heart of the competition. He could feel the weight of countless eyes upon him, the curious glances of fellow competitors, the appraising stares of potential investors, the skeptical gazes of seasoned entrepreneurs who had seen it all. It was a crucible designed to test the mettle of even the most seasoned innovator, and Joshua felt the heat intensifying with every step. He found his way to the designated waiting area, a spacious lounge filled with a mix of nervous chatter and forced camaraderie. Competitors, their faces a blend of excitement and apprehension, huddled in small groups, their whispered conversations punctuated by the clatter of laptop keys and the insistent ringing of cell phones. It was a scene straight out of a tech entrepreneur's dream, a high-stakes game of innovation where only the boldest and brightest dared to play. Joshua took a seat, his carefully crafted pitch deck a reassuring weight on his lap. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath, willing his heart to find its rhythm amidst the cacophony of ambition that swirled around him. He had come too far to let nerves derail him now. It was time to silence the doubts, to summon his inner strength, and to let his brilliance illuminate the room. The call came sooner than expected, his name echoing through the lounge. Joshua felt a surge of adrenaline as he rose to his feet. His moment of truth had arrived. He adjusted his tie and made his way towards the presentation room. The door opened, revealing a spacious conference room. A long table dominated the room, surrounded by judges. Behind them, a wall of windows offered a panoramic view of the city. Mark sat among the judges, his gaze fixed on Joshua. Nikita observed him, her notepad open. Their presence fueled Joshua's determination. He would prove them wrong and claim his place among the city's brightest minds. As he stepped into the room, the door closed behind him. The weight of the moment settled upon him, but a spark of defiance ignited within him. He had come too far to falter now. It was time to rise to the challenge and command the room. Time seemed to slow as Joshua connected his laptop to the projector, the blue glow illuminating his face. He took a deep breath, willing his hands to remain steady. This was his story, his vision. His voice, initially a tremor, gained strength and clarity. He spoke with passion and authenticity. He wasn't just reciting facts, he was sharing a piece of himself. His words resonated with the judges, their faces softening into interest. He outlined his solution with precision, his confidence growing. He wasn't just selling a product, he was offering a vision of a better future. As he reached the climax of his presentation, a hush fell over the room. The click of his remote, advancing to the final slide, seemed to echo in the expectant silence. The slide, a simple yet powerful image, encapsulated the essence of his vision. This, Joshua said, is what Legacy Enterprises is all about. He met the gaze of each judge, his eyes burning with conviction. Then applause erupted, rippling through the room. Joshua allowed himself a small smile. He had done it. Joshua answered each question with clarity and passion. The skepticism had dissipated, replaced by excitement and belief in Joshua's vision. The energy in the room crackled with a nervous energy as Joshua disconnected his laptop, the afterglow of his presentation still lingering in the air. The judges, their faces a mixture of admiration and intrigue, continued their hushed deliberations, their pens scratching notes on their scorecards. Joshua, his heart still pounding from the adrenaline rush of the pitch, gathered his belongings, a quiet sense of accomplishment washing over him. He had given it his all, poured his heart and soul into his vision, and now all he could do was wait.
Joshua, wait.
It was Nikita, her usual aloofness replaced by a hesitant curiosity. She stood by the door, her notepad clutched in her hand, her expression unreadable. Joshua paused, his brow furrowed slightly, unsure what to expect. Their interactions had been, at best, strained, her dismissive attitude a constant reminder of the invisible barriers he faced. What could she possibly want now, after witnessing his moment of triumph?
That was impressive. I mean, really impressive. I had no idea.
Joshua, caught off guard by her unexpected compliment, merely nodded, a flicker of amusement playing on his lips. He had grown accustomed to being underestimated, his potential dismissed based on appearances and assumptions. To see Nikita, the epitome of casual indifference, struggling to articulate her newfound respect was both satisfying and a testament to the power of his vision. Actions, it seemed, spoke louder than words, and his actions had spoken volumes.
I misjudged you. I let my own biases, my own assumptions cloud my judgment. I'm sorry.
Joshua, his initial surprise giving way to a quiet understanding, nodded slowly. He had encountered this reaction before, the subtle shift in perception that came with defying expectations, with shattering stereotypes through the sheer force of one's abilities. It was a victory, not just for him, but for all those who had been relegated to the sidelines, their potential ignored, their voices silenced.
It's okay.
Joshua replied, his voice calm, forgiving. He understood the insidious nature of prejudice, the way it could color one's perceptions, blinding them to the truth. He had been on the receiving end of it countless times, and he knew that sometimes the most powerful response was not anger or bitterness, but grace and understanding. Nikita looked up, her eyes meeting his, a flicker of gratitude in their depths. She had expected anger, resentment, perhaps even a scathing retort. Instead, she found compassion, a willingness to bridge the divide that she herself had helped create. It was a humbling experience, a stark reminder that true strength lay not in wielding power over others, but in recognizing the shared humanity that bound them together. Before Nikita could respond, the door to the conference room swung open and Mark emerged, his face flushed, a mixture of surprise and admiration in his eyes. He strode towards Joshua, his hand outstretched, a wide grin splitting his face.
Joshua, that was incredible, absolutely incredible.
Joshua, taken aback by Mark's effusive praise, shook his hand, a wave of relief washing over him. Mark's approval, once a distant dream, now felt tangible, a testament to the transformative power of his vision. He had proven himself not just to Mark, but to the room full of skeptics who had underestimated him.
You know, I have to admit I had my doubts. But you, my friend, you've got something special. You've got the fire, the vision, the sheer audacity to change the game. You remind me of someone I used to know.
Joshua's brow furrowed slightly, intrigued. Joshua, narrator. Someone you used to know? He echoed, prompting Mark to elaborate. Who was this enigmatic figure who had left such an indelible mark on Mark's memory? And what connection could they possibly have to Joshua, a young man from a world seemingly far removed from the cutthroat world of venture capitalists and tech moguls?
A wistful smile touched Mark's lips as he leaned in, his voice barely a murmur. My grandfather, he revealed, his eyes gazing past Joshua, lost in a distant memory. He came from nothing, built his empire from the ground up, just like you're trying to do. He had this saying. Mark paused, his gaze refocusing on Joshua, his eyes filled with a newfound intensity. The greatest legacies are often forged by those who dare to dream beyond the limitations of their circumstances.
A shiver ran down Joshua's spine as Mark's words resonated deep within him. The weight of legacy, of lineage, of a destiny waiting to be unfolded settled upon his shoulders. He thought of his own humble beginnings, the sacrifices his family had made, the dreams they had nurtured. He thought of the countless individuals who had come before him, their struggles and triumphs paving the way for his own journey. And in that moment, he understood. He wasn't just competing for a prize, for recognition, for a chance to prove himself. He was carrying the torch of his ancestors, their hopes and dreams woven into the fabric of his being. He was a testament to their resilience, their unwavering belief in the power of possibility.
Mark, sensing the shift in Joshua's demeanor, clapped him on the shoulder, a gesture of camaraderie and respect. You've got this, Joshua, he said, his voice filled with conviction. And I, for one, can't wait to see what you do next. He turned to leave, then paused, a mischievous glint in his eye. Oh, and by the way, he added, his voice barely a whisper, the judges loved your pitch. Consider yourself one step closer to changing the world.
The weight of Mark's words, heavy with the echoes of a shared history, lingered in the air as Joshua stepped out of the conference room. The nervous energy that had permeated the building now buzzed with excited whispers, his name repeated in hushed tones, a beacon of hope for the countless dreamers who had dared to enter the arena. The judge's verdict, still a closely guarded secret, seemed to hang in the air, a tangible presence that both excited and terrified him. He made his way back to the waiting area, his steps lighter now, his heart thrumming with a potent cocktail of anticipation and relief. The faces of his fellow competitors, once etched with a competitive fire, now reflected a mixture of admiration and nervous anticipation. He had become an unlikely hero, a symbol of hope in a world that often seemed determined to crush the dreams of those who dared to dream differently. Mersha, her eyes sparkling with unshed tears of pride, rose to her feet as he approached their table. Without a word, she pulled him into a tight embrace, her silent support speaking volumes in that moment of shared triumph. He had done it. He had faced his fears, silenced his doubts, and emerged from the crucible of competition stronger, more determined, more aware of the legacy he carried within him.
You were amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Her words, simple yet heartfelt, validated the sacrifices he had made, the countless hours he had poured into honing his vision, the unwavering belief in himself that had carried him through the darkest of doubts. The announcement, when it finally came, echoed through the room with the force of a revelation. Joshua, his name booming through the speakers, felt a surge of adrenaline course through his veins as he rose to his feet, his heart pounding against his ribs like a drumbeat of destiny. He had done it. He had won. As he made his way to the stage, the room erupted in thunderous applause, a wave of sound that washed over him, carrying with it the weight of expectations, the hopes of a community yearning for a champion, the silent prayers of those who had dared to dream of a better future. He had become more than just a competitor. He had become a symbol of possibility, a testament to the transformative power of perseverance, passion, and an unwavering belief in one's ability to defy the odds. He accepted the award, a sleek crystal trophy that seemed to gleam with the promise of a brighter future, with a humility that belied the magnitude of his accomplishment. This wasn't just a personal victory, it was a victory for every dreamer who had been told their ideas were too bold, their voices too quiet, their origins a liability in a world obsessed with pedigree and privilege. As he gazed out at the sea of faces before him, their eyes shining with a mixture of admiration and hope, he knew that his journey was far from over. This was just the beginning, the first chapter in a story that promised to be as audacious, as unexpected, as inspiring as the city that had birthed his dreams. This was his moment, his chance to not just change the game but to redefine the rules, to create a legacy that would inspire generations to come. In the whirlwind of celebrations, Joshua found solace in his apartment. The city lights twinkled, a reminder of dreams, stories of ambition and triumph. He was part of that tapestry, his narrative woven into the city's soul. At his desk, the crystal trophy gleamed softly, a symbol of his accomplishment, but the intangible rewards resonated more. Confidence, validation, and touching lives, inspiring others to dream. He remembered Mark's words, his grandfather's wisdom. The greatest legacies are forged by dreamers. He dared to dream bigger, tapping into strength he never knew. He discovered the legacy within, a legacy of resilience and innovation, belief in the human spirit to overcome. His journey was about inspiring others, empowering them to break free. Proving brilliance could bloom anywhere, innovation knew no boundaries. The greatest stories are written by those who challenge the status quo, creating a future where everyone shines. As the city lights twinkled outside his window, painting the night sky with their ethereal glow, Joshua made a silent promise to himself. He would use his newfound platform to inspire others to chase their dreams, to break down barriers, and create a world where opportunity was a right. He would mentor young entrepreneurs, sharing his knowledge, his unwavering belief in their success. He would invest in ideas that challenged the status quo, solving real-world problems, making a tangible difference. He would create a ripple effect, inspiring others to reach their full potential. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he was ready. He had faced his fears, embraced his legacy, and discovered a strength within himself. He was no longer just Joshua the dreamer, the young man with a heart full of hope. He was Joshua the champion, the innovator, the leader, the embodiment of a legacy. And as he gazed out at the city, He knew his journey, his triumph, resonated with hope, with the belief in the potential for greatness, waiting to change the